Okay, we're going to try and rotate 1 plus I by an angle of 60 degrees anti-clockwise. So I'll tell you where 1 plus I is. 1 plus I is there. So that's 1. That's 1. So let's call that 1 plus I. Now, if you translate this into mod arc form, that's actually root 2. The length of it is root 2, 1 square plus 1 square root. And it's 45 degrees, which is pi on 4. So that's basically in exponential form. It's root 2 I to the power of e to the power of I pi on 4. So if you rotate that 60 degrees anti-clockwise, by the way, that's pi on 3, then effectively then, to get to a new guy, so that you start it there, you rotate 60 degrees, so 45 plus 60 is 105. 105 is somewhere over here. So that's Z, that's W. So W then is, and that's 60 degrees, or pi on 3, or pi on 3, and that's pi on 4. So Z then is effectively, should say W rather, is Z to the power of I pi on 3. So you effectively multiply by e to the power of I pi on 3. But Z is root 2 e I pi on 4, which is multiplied by e I pi on 3. Now, when you do your index law, that's ei pi on 3 plus pi on 4. And that's effectively is ei 7 pi on 12. Right, so that's that. Now, 2 birds, 1 stone. You know that e I pi on 3 rather is cos pi on 3 plus I sine pi on 3. And that is a half plus root 3 onto I, if you know your exact ratios. So basically, W then is Z times ei pi on 3, but Z was 1 plus I, and ei to the power of pi on I pi on 3 is just a half plus root 3 on 2 times I. When you expand this out in a hurry, you get a half minus root 3 on 2 plus I, a half plus root 3 on 2. And so W is this, but W is also this, which means that W is root 2. There's your, let me write it again, I pi 7 pi on 12, which is root 2 cos 7 pi on 12 plus I sine 7 pi on 12. I'm putting it back into mod arc form. So then if you equate the real part must be the same, and I'll circle that for you. So that means that a half minus root 3 on 2 is equal to root 2 cos 7 pi on 12. Meaning what? Meaning cos 7 pi on 12 then, as an exact ratio, is actually that divided by root 2. So that's basically, if you take the root 2 over here, it's essentially the same as 1 over 2 root 2 outside of 1 minus root 3. And if you want to simplify that further, using your surds, you actually get root 2 minus root 6 on 4, using your surds, which I'm not going to go into now. So you can check that with 2 units, basically. Likewise, if you equate the imaginary part, this part is equal to root 2 times sine of 7 pi on 2. So that means a half plus root 3 on 2 is equal to root 2 sine 7 pi on 12. Meaning what? Meaning that sine 7 pi on 12, similarly, when you go through the algebra, check the root 2 on the other side, you will get root 2 plus root 6 divided by 4. So that's an exact ratio of trick. Now, in maths extension 1, you can do that similarly by saying that 7 pi on 12 is the same as 105 degrees. If you want to do degrees, it's 60 plus 45, and use compound angle, and you work out to be the same. But this is quite a nice way of working out the exact ratios of sine and cos of 7 pi on 12, and that's where I stop.